Assalamu alaikum. So I am at the lakefront. I got a workout in, and then I decided to actually still take a nice little walk. I just kept on walking. So I walked about 3 miles, and now I got to walk back. But before I hit back, I was just sitting here really reflecting for a moment, and really trying to think about what I should say. And so I really didn't come up with anything specific. The thought was just, moving from theory to practice. And so there's a lot of things, and I think this kind of flows from yesterday as well, is that, we have a lot of things that are in our minds in many instances that may be good ideas, and for whatever reason, there's those barriers that stop us from moving on them. And I've said this before. I've kind of identified 2 major reasons why we don't move from theory to practice. And those 2 are the first one is that that we don't have a very clear picture on what it is that we want. And because of the lack of clarity, then it's difficult to really move forward and not see where you're going. So it's kind of like if you're in the dark and you don't know where you're going, the way that you move is a lot different from when you're clear in your focus. There's a lot when you have a destination and you can see it clearly, then you move with certainty. When you don't know, there seems to be a slower motion. So the first reason really is that we don't have a clear vision. So we have the theory, but the theory of what we're trying to do and what we want to accomplish and what that would be like and what that would feel like is not clear enough to keep us moving on the path. The second reason that I've identified is really that we don't believe in ourselves, or we don't believe that what we have set our goals or our minds on is that it's worthwhile, or that whatever difficulty we have to go through is worthwhile. So even though we may have some degree of clarity, it's the question is man, I don't want to do all of this. All of what it takes to arrive at the goal is not really worth it. So yeah, someone said true just like faith. So it's lack of faith, but I think that what happens is that when we have a clear picture in our mind, even though there may be lack of faith, even though there's doubt there, when you can experience the reality that you say you desire, when you can actually feel it, when you can see it, in the Holy Quran it says Allah only says to a thing, be, and it is. And that's true, but I think there's a little bit more to that, because in every reference where Allah says kun fayakun, be and it is, there's something that happens after that. Allah saying be and it isn't that it's some type of magical words that when you say be, that something magically happens. Not even with Allah. Allah is able to say be and it is because He's defined and determined what that reality is going to be, and there's a clear picture in His mind. So at that point when He says be and it is, the only thing that needs to happen is that He sets into motion a plan and begin to work and bring that which is in His mind into reality. So, we're taught, as others have said, that faith without works is dead, but Allah even functions like that. Allah determines what He wants to happen and then moves towards happening. And I think that it's easier to move towards it when you can see it. So sometimes we have, there's a difference from, having a vision versus having an idea versus a thought. And so in some instances we work on thoughts. We say we have a great idea, or we have a plan or something that we're going to work on, but it hasn't been thought out. You haven't put the attention on what you really want to happen. so we wonder why it doesn't happen. Is because you really, in many instances, don't even really know what you want to happen. We just want something. So that investment of time, and just like yesterday, we talked about stealing away, and I think earlier the week we talked about planning, is that, you know, it can't move, or it doesn't move beyond just being a thought or maybe a idea into something that's really worthwhile until we've gotten to the point that we put it on paper, that we've invested the mental energy and gone from just the theory in our minds and have removed it or moved it from just something in our heads into something that's on paper. You know, and we're told that the word became flesh and then it dwelt among man. But before it was even a word, it had to be a thought. It was something that was in someone's mind, and then that thought transformed and someone articulated that verbally. But then the next step is actually to really put it on paper. And what happens when you put something on paper, you begin to explore and see where the holes are, and you come up with that strategy on how you're going to bring it to existence. It becomes more vivid in the mind, so that what you have and that thought that was in your mind, instead of it just being random, it begins to be organized. And it's those organized thoughts brought together. Those organized thoughts brought together that allow you to begin to bring that which is in your mind into a physical reality. You know, we're taught as students, and I've said this before, is that we're taught that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that every time I see a black man, I'm looking at God. And of course, we're taught that a God is one who has force and power to change reality. And with that is that we're gods regardless if we act upon it or if we know it or not. And what that means is that we're using force and power to create the realities in which we're existing in right now, but we just don't do it deliberately. Things that what appears to be happening to us, we don't see how we're really the cause of the effect of what's going on. So the goal and plan for the day is, of course, man, keep on moving towards writing it down, not just having these thoughts and just moving on it, but we have to put those thoughts on paper. We have to begin to create a picture, not that's just partially developed in our mind, but begin to write it down. And it's not even about just writing down, but draw it. What does that reality look like? So, hey, I don't want to keep on going on. I pray that this is inspirational. So it's shut down, but I take that as a sign that I'll cut it off. So the point is that, man, we just need to move beyond just having thoughts in our mind, draw it, write it, and not just create these visions in our mind, but actually work it. So on that note, until next time, peace.